they will stay in the dorm in the weekends in between. So they will join like activities to explore like San Francisco, to go on school visit, to go on NBA games, all those activities we have over the weekend. And the age is from between 6 to 16 years old. So the age range is wide, but the students will be placed by age and English level. So they'll have a class that's suitable for their English level and their age. Our location. So, Archbishop Riordan High School is right in the heart of San Francisco. So it's not suburbs, it's not remote. So it's you have a very easy access to the city, and to the coast near San Francisco, and then to like the major attractions that we have all heard of, like the Golden Gate Bridge, and like the all the other, famous things in San Francisco. But it's also in a very safe area. The neighborhood right next to it's a very affluent neighborhood. So all the students will be in a very safe area away from, the city. Some dangerous part in the city, they're very far away from that. And then the students will also be living and learning it's all on campus. So they will eat, live, and sleep and learn, all in the Archbishop Riordan campus. So there's full school supervisions around the clock on the students. And Archbishop Riordan, I mean, when David joined, and he will have like a more detailed background in the school. So it's really a very, is long established private Catholic school. It has the full facilities. It has like the classroom, the labs. They have a gym. I know they also have like a huge football field, and they have like art studios and dorms. So the students really get to do what they want to do in the sports and electives during this program. And when David joins, he will give you a better feel for like the campus, when he's introducing the schools. And then, what does a week in life look like for the students? So from Monday to Friday, first they will have academic classes, math, science, physics, bio, all the classes, and English, writing and reading. And then they will be, group with the levels that they are comfortable with, and then they're suitable with, and then they'll take a class along with domestic students. In the afternoons, they have sports. They have like all kinds of sports like football, basketball, or they can do electives like arts, crafts, technology, or like music or dance, like things that they like to do. They can like sign up to do that electives. And in the evening, they'll be staying in the dorm. So in the dorm, there will be dorm activities, social game nights, just like, and movies, and just like their natural opportunities to make more friends in this trip. And then on the weekends, you have the big experiences, like what I said. We're in San Francisco. We have the Golden Gate Bridge. We have the Pier 39. We have the Monterey and Camaro Bay by the sea. And then you also get to visit, famous universities near the school, like UC Berkeley and Stanford. And then you can shopping in the San Francisco area. There's also like other fun activities that students can join. So, across this 1 week or multiple weeks that they're there, your students really gets the academics, they get athletics, they get the culture, and then they get the travel. It will be all in our one program. And then, so yeah, so this is some of the pictures from the schools, the gym, the academic buildings. And here are some of the pictures from our students from the previous programs. And then just to talk a little bit about what is included and what's not. So for pricing, you can reach out to your regional manager directly. We'll give you a tailored quote. It also, if you send more students to us, it will be a better price. So all the classes, so it's all the fee is pretty much all inclusive. You've all the classes and after school activities. You have the dorm for on-campus housing, like you will be living in the dorm, and then you have 3 meals, nutritious meal a day. Um, so the dorm is usually a double room, but if we like in the summer, there will be less students. So if the students want a single room, they could also, well, it's not guaranteed, but they might also be able to have that. Um, uh, but if they want to share a room with a friend or make new friends, have roommates, that's always that's always provided too. And then transportation through the program will do airport pickup and drop off. And then the insurance is also included. So pretty much everything at school is all inclusive. What is not included is their personal purchases, their flights to the States, and any tickets to any like optional free time activities. So if, let's say if we bring the students to if a group of students wants to go to like Disneyland and then we bring them to Disneyland, then transportation is covered, but the students have to pay for all of their Disneyland tickets, and if they want to eat there, that's all extra cost. Yeah, so that's just like the framework of the program. Has David joined yet, Maria?
He's
I
on
don't
his
think so.
way. Yeah, he's coming.
Oh, he's coming? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I also was in a joint, like I was also at the program. I think it was last year, I brought a group of students from China to the program, and then we also have, other students from like European, LATAM, and then the large chunk of it during the day, when students are at class, it's just U.S. You studying with U.S. domestic students, like local students who also come in for the program. But at so for the boarding students, it's mostly just ABC students. We're the only agency that they're working with on this program. You do get, experience to have classes with domestic students during the day, but also at night, if you want your little time, spending with all the international students who has, same experience as coming to study in the States. That's also, a good break for the students. And about some of the questions that I've got from my previous agencies. Maybe I just talk about a little bit here. So their English levels. If they will be able to keep up with, taking classes with the domestic students. I think the program is friendly to all English levels of students. So if they are really strong in the English level, they can take like English language and English literature with the domestic students. If they're a bit weaker in English, they can be grouped with the other international students and then take like ESL writing and reading classes. I think it's definitely suitable for all English level students. As we can see, like the age level is also very wide, where how they recruit domestic students. So if your English level is not that strong, but you're a bit older, maybe we can group you with like a bit younger, domestic students. And I think I see questions from Andrea. Can student choose class or everyone has the same schedule? So students are placed in different classes, they can choose their electives, like activities that they want to do in the afternoon. Um, so if like let's say if a student has like not too strong English levels, we don't suggest placing them. Like so we will place them in the suitable level of English class so they don't get to choose like they want to take it with like higher English level like literature classes. So they're more placed in the class, but they're placed in a suitable class. In terms of like English, math, and science, it applies to all the subjects. And oh, and then a lot of questions that I get from my other agencies is that will student get a completion certificate when they complete the program? Yes, they will. All the students will get a completion certificate. If they perform very well in the class, we can even ask, even like they've David or Danny at the school to write them like a recommendation letter for if they're applying to US high schools in the future. So I think these two are very valuable for, if the students plan to study in the US in the future, then that it shows like they've already gone through this program, they're serious about coming to the States. And they also do well in those programs. So it's more likely they will do well in the actual, high schools. Um, Maria, David just texted me saying he's requesting access. Can you let him in?
Sure, but I've not received any requests yet.
Uh,
Yeah, ask him to try to enter again, join again, because we don't like I haven't seen the his name pop
okay.
up.
We don't see. Okay. So according to what sizes are the class approx? So the sizes are like what I would say like 15 students. That's the average class size. Some classes could be bigger, could be up to like probably like 20-ish. The less cl smaller classes are like 8 people. So it's similar to the actual, US boarding school average class size or US high school class size, the private school ones. So the students can come on a B1 tourist visa. They don't need a F1 visa. Yeah, so if we really make it simple, and then if the students need like an invitation letter, um, the school can also issue that to help with the visa interview. Um, yes, so if we have a group of more than 10 students, or a bit less is fine if you have like 8. The group leader can come for free. We can have an adult come for free. They will live on campus with the other students, and then they will join all the weekend activities as well. Hi, David. I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. It wouldn't let me log on for the longest time. Sorry for the wait.
No problem. So I use the flyer and I give like a basic intro on the program. I mean, I was in
Okay.
the program with the Chinese groups too, so I talk a little bit about, the basic info like the date and the ages, how the classes will be like. And then we've already got some questions about like, the visa, the class size, the schedules, the classes. So I answer some of those. But I think
Okay.
we want maybe you to give us like more detailed introduction, on Archbishop Ryden, the school, um,
Yeah.
and also, on the why this program sets itself aside from the other programs,
Oh, for
summer
sure.
programs.
Um,
Yeah.
So again, thank you everyone for your patience. My name is David Lynn. I'm the director of the boarding program here at Archbishop Reardon High School. And it's an exciting time for us at Reardon, not just for summer camps, but just as a high school. We're one of the fastest growing high schools here in San Francisco. And specifically with boarding, I started when there was about 15 students, and we've been able to grow the program to about 90 students, and we're hoping to push it over 100 by next year. Archbishop Reardon is a really special place where we really promote students to feel comfortable and confident. Our staff, our students all are very much part of, we're a Marianist Catholic high school, so we have like what we call this Marianist family community spirit. Our teachers are always excited, especially in the summer, to be able to use that as an opportunity to market our school, right? So it's usually local students, 3rd through 8th grade, who are coming to our school, and potentially that's our opportunity to show them why they should come to our high school. Okay, and so I'm sure Sherry kind of went over it, but from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. is our core academic. And so we do have our own Reardon teachers teaching math, teaching science, and teaching English. And then from 1 to 3 is what we call kind of an enrichment. So 1 to 3, we have different sessions for each week. So for example, for the sports in the gym, the first two weeks are basketball, and then the following 3 weeks is volleyball. And then outside it would be American flag football, and then regular football, or what we call soccer, right? So those are kind of like our outdoor sports activities. And then indoor around that same time, we have activities like art, theater. Our journalism program is really well known. So our journalism teacher actually works with the students, and they create, stories over the summer. As young kids, they go interview other teachers or other students as news reporters. We do dance. And then something that's really popular now is just like our robotics and engineering. The past couple of years, they've been working on building little robots. This year, I think we have a teacher who's really interested in creating a curriculum for Lego robotics. So that is kind of like the curriculum part. At lunchtime, they will all have lunch that is included. And then specifically for the boarding program, we have dinners as well. And then because you're living on campus, I think the unique part of it, because you can go to any summer camp and have kind of like that daily routine, but our location is really convenient where in the evening, our resident advisors who are staying over the summer will take, your students to the mall, we'll take them to Golden Gate Bridge. And on the weekends, we all have different activities, right? So our students in the past have gone to, Stanford University, which is one of the top universities here in the U.S. UC Berkeley is about 30 minutes away. So there's just a lot of different opportunities, and we can kind of cater it to what your students and what your groups want. Obviously, time limited, but before that, we can definitely plan ahead.
Yeah, David, and since you're the director of the summer program, what does your role look like on campus? Like how I know you also take care of the international, let me mute this. I know you also take care of the international students during the regular school year. So how involved are you with the students, day to day at the program?
So from 9 to 12, I'm kind of the point person, just managing, working with parents as they're dropping off. Usually after the first week, it runs pretty smoothly. So I'm around for any of the issues that are happening with the local students, but especially with the international students. And then in the evenings, I, along with my RA staff, and Sherry was there, like I'm usually there to kind of drive around and be there as well. I do have 3 kids, and sometimes I bring them along. They love meeting people from all over the world. So we're very family oriented. There's never a point where usually the chaperone, whoever is with ABC and they're coming, they have my phone number. They'll call me like, hey, we need some hair dryers, or we need a hot kettle pot because they want to make ramen or something like that. We're always very accommodating, and I think that's one thing that our students and our chaperones really appreciate. I'm always on call, and I'm able to be there to handle any issues.
Yes, and then I did show some pictures of the school, but could you also like walk us through like the campus looks like and feels like where they sleep, where they eat and study and play?
Yeah, so the dorm area is actually like inside of the school. I don't know if you've been to other campuses, but a lot of the times the dorms are like somewhere off and you got to walk. Like literally, if you're living on the third floor, you walk down a flight of stairs and then you're in the hallway, right? And so a lot of the classrooms are about a 2 minute walk down. The cafeteria is down two flights of stairs. You go into the courtyard and the cafeteria is right there. And then inside of the boarding area, there is a kitchen. So besides the cafeteria, a lot of the students, our own boarding students, and even students who have come in the summer, like to utilize the kitchen space to either cook. There's refrigerators; they can get groceries. And then, like I said, our location, you can order. There's a Whole Foods, a McDonald's, acai bowl, all sorts of different kind of cuisines that are just a block away. Um, the gym is probably a little bit further down from the cafeteria. Our campus seems really big, but it's pretty compact once you're there. But everything is on site, and so you can see in that picture our gym is, one of the best gyms in San Francisco. It's a little bit sunken in, and then behind the door of the gym is a weight room, as well as a mat room where we have like our yoga classes during the year. So there's a bunch of different spaces, whether they want to lift weights, whether they want a little room. And then right outside of that, if you keep walking, is our field, right, where our kids at night play soccer, American football. There's a track to run around. So in terms of exercise and activity, there's pretty much everything and anything that's very accessible. Also in the evenings, sometimes, students have their dorm rooms. So the dorm rooms are set up where it's a bunk bed, right? There's two beds per room with two tables, and inside of the room there's a sink. The bathrooms are communal though, right? So there's like four or five showers that have their own doors and closed off, as well as three or four stalls for restrooms. And there's for the third floor there's two sides, right? So there's two communal restrooms, one on each side. Um, and then in the classrooms, what's unique is for the art classroom, it is a specific art classroom, and then for the engineering space, it's like a state of the art maker space where there's 3D printing, there's a water laser cutter, there's all sorts of things that the students can kind of use and be able to do engineering with.
So, the dorm setup will be like mostly like double rooms, two students per room.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the numbers, because all of our boarding students are actually not there. I mean, in the past, I think you've requested students to be together so they're not alone. But if you have a particular student, or especially for the chaperones usually are like, hey, can I make sure I have my own room? We can arrange that. It just depends on the different groups that we have and the different numbers. But for the most part, we can be flexible with how you guys want to create it. You can just know that the skeleton of it is there's two people allowed per room. If you wanted to say, hey, we only have 10 students and we want to offer them singles, you can tell me that and we can make sure that we arrange that.
Okay. And then in the dorm, do we handle like bedtimes and is there rules about leaving campus? Like, so what does the discipline look like for the students, for the boarding students?
Yeah, I mean, we have our own set of rules that we can kind of manage, and we will have an RA on site. So I don't know if you met Enoch or Scott, but we have two RAs who usually are here for the summer and can help with that. But a lot of the times the chaperones, to my understanding, will be able to set the ground rules, and then if you need support, it's very easy. And in terms of like safety and security, that's like our number one thing, right? Being in San Francisco, being in a city, our cameras that we have access to have cameras on pretty much like every aspect of the dorms. And then if any student tries to exit after 11 p.m., it will give us alerts. So we get text message alerts, and it shows us exactly the clip of if a student is trying to exit. So it's really difficult, and for me as the director, with 80 high school teenagers always trying to do something, that's something that's very important to us, right? And so that's something that we can ensure families and ensure parents that there's really no way to try and get away with anything on our watch.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we get a question from Constance in the chat box. So um, so the program we mentioned chaperones, so we're open to groups, but we're also open to individuals, right?
Yeah, totally. That's fine. Whatever. I mean, I think we already have a certain number of students coming. I would be concerned if it was just one student that we're housing, but if we already have a group of, like, let's say, I think we have about 12 or 14 that are supposedly confirmed. So if there's just one student that wanted to come, like I think in the past we had one chaperone whose son was, elementary school, and he came by himself. It was like 10 Vietnamese and this one Chinese boy, and it was totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then if I think, safety and emergency is also where the parents really care about. So if the students
Hmm.
gets, sick, and then if there's an emergency, like what's the protocol like
Yeah,
for them as the parents?
so we've actually had, not at our site, but during a winter immersion trip, some students were playing in the bathroom and they hit their head and they cut their head open. So like we have reared in vans, so we would drive them to the closest emergency. At that time, and that's a question that maybe will have for you is, usually people who are traveling have their own travel insurance, and so in that situation, the student had their own insurance. If you guys needed specific insurance, we do have a contact. Like our international students use a certain type of insurance, so we can find out if we need to use that. But most students have their own insurance, and then in any emergency, our RAs are on site, right? So even if I think that time it was like 1 a.m. and then we got a call having to bring the student to emergency. So we would just take our RAs, take them in the van with the chaperone, and then bring them to the hospital, which we have, urgent care. We have emergency hospitals. We obviously have like first aid and medication on site. So if any student feels like they have a cold or a flu, we have all of that at hand.
Mm-hmm. And then speaking of insurance, like we have ABC has our insurance. So if you apply through ABC, your insurance will be included. So that's not something for us to worry about. And
Perfect.
yeah, let's speak about the academic side a little bit for this camp. So who really teaches the summer classes? And then, um, is it Weldon's own faculty, or is some specialist that we brought in for the summer?
So as of right now, all three subjects in math, science, and English are Reardon's faculty, and a lot of the enrichment right now is someone from the outside coming in to do our robotics program. Our engineering person is going to be out for the summer, so we did have to outsource for that. But that person has been doing, engineering stuff for middle schools, for the past 5 years. So we're pretty confident in that. And then all of the coaches are actually Reardon coaches too. So our Reardon basketball coach for our junior varsity program, our flag football is a actual varsity football coach. Our soccer is a former soccer player that played for us. He's not actually coaching; he's doing a grad school program, but he's very familiar with soccer. And then our volleyball is also a volleyball coach. So everything is pretty much a experience and a taste of what Reardon academics and Reardon athletics would be, which we're really proud of. And then the other thing with academics too is in the past we've had maybe older students. So I just wanted to, let this be known. So our program is specifically for third graders through eighth graders, um, locally, right? And then in the past 2 years, I think 2 years ago, we had a group. They were a little bit older. They were maybe like ninth and 10th grade in high school. So they joined like our seventh and eighth graders in English, and in science, but math we brought in a different teacher just to focus on, higher level math. So if that's something that you feel like, hey, we're going to have a little bit of an older student crowd, is it possible to maybe find a different math class? That's something that we've been able to accommodate in the past. But with and students who are coming from another country appreciate that they can kind of be at a slower pace, so they didn't have any issues being integrated into those classes. But I just wanted to make sure, like, hey, if you have older kids that and they're not exactly eighth grade, we've been able to, integrate that and not make that such a big issue. But I know usually in other countries math is way more advanced, and so we did ask a teacher to just teach the international students a level math that was more fitting. So that's something that
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can discuss in more detail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the students are really, placed based on, different levels into different classes. Um,
Yeah.
and then overall, like, how do you feel like it's a really academic program for the students, or it's like more like relaxed and experimental? Do they have like homeworks and, do you think it would be like academically challenging, or it's like more experimental, relaxed for the students?
To be honest with you, because it's more of a summer camp, the vibe that I think our teachers try and give is more, yes, there's learning, but they try and do it more in a fun, creative way versus like actual class during the school year. So I would say like the rigor and the level is like science is more like experiments. And I think they like, taught kids in different ways how to make ice cream, but teach it through a scientific way, right? And so it's just like they're doing hands-on more projects. Obviously, English, there's a lot of focus on writing and different types of way of like storytelling that I've seen in the past. And then the math is you know, math is math, right? Like they do a good job of trying to make it as fun as possible. If you're if you have students who are inquiring about like, hey, I really want to be challenged in the summer and I'm trying to elevate, my academic experience, I to be transparent, I don't think it's like super academic. I think it's more just the opportunity to experience culture, be in a U.S. high school. We do have our teachers who are high school teachers, so if there was a request of like, hey, can you just make sure that international students, since they're living on campus, can we make sure that we're giving them extra homework or we're giving them, I think here in America we're very used to differentiated learning. So in a classroom, you might have students who are super academic, and then you might have students who have learning differences all in the same classroom. So they're familiar with being able to cater and teach to what we have. So again, that might be like ABC telling me specifically, hey, David, we have, for the most part, the kids are fine, but we do have two students who are really focused on academics. Can we make sure that they get a little bit more work? That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Yeah, so I think with my intro and with the um Q&A and the panel session that we just had, we kind of like touched on all aspects of the program. So do we still have any other questions from our group about the program that we haven't really explained? Any questions we still have? Okay. Oh, yes, Luisa.
Hi, Carrie. Yeah, just this is just more for our agents, and it's just like queuing on what David just said about the program not being that academic. I think the way we have to show this to our future like students, talking about the agents, it's the name of the program is immersion. So what we are trying to give the students is just a little taste to what it is to be enrolled in a boarding school, right? An American school. If they would like something more academic, yeah, this is, but they're not sure. This is the perfect way. And then if they like it, obviously, if they're gonna have an amazing experience, they can just start the semester and have the full academic view and everything with grades and homework. But it's just like I just wanted to like tell that to the agents So it would be also better to tell the parents and obviously the students.
Yeah, I think, it really mimics the real boarding school, US boarding school experience. It's not all about academics, but academics very important. That's why we have, the core classes in the morning. But, for them to enjoy real you know US boarding school, it's also, in the similar set. You have the classes during the in the morning. During the day you also have like electives and afternoon activities after the class. So yeah. And then we have a question from Bruna. Can they start the semester right away, or would they need to go home first and come back next semester?
Uh, so are you saying that if they decide to come in the summer, it's usually like June or July? Our
Yeah.
semester for regular school starts like our move-in day is August 14th, right?
Mhm.
So there is going to be probably, I think the last day of camp is June 17th, so there's about a month of a break for that student. So I would have to talk to Danny in terms of how that would work out. I'm sure that we can probably, if they were like, hey, we wanted to stay in the dorm and wait until the semester started because they're enrolling as a high schooler, that's probably something that we can talk about, but we haven't done that in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also a bit on that for the visa part. For this program, you can come on a B1 visa, but if your students want to stay for the semester, then they would need an F1 visa. But if they're already coming in on an F1 visa, for the program, yes, I think maybe we can work something out to have them stay in a dorm. But we also need to, note that there is a about a gap, like a month gap in between the programs and the actual semester start. Yeah. Okay. Um, let's wait a bit and see if we have any more questions from our agencies, questions from anyone.
I was just going to add on to Luis's point. I think that's really important, about like our program just being an opportunity to be able to experience what Reardon is about, in kind of a low pressure way. And I think nowadays too, students, in order to feel like, hey, this could be an opportunity that I want to follow later on, like it's nice to be able to create some confidence and experience some culture and be like, hey, do I see myself being here as the cell versus like, hey, you're going to go in there and it's super competitive and make sure you get good grades, right? Like that probably isn't going to be the best way. So I just wanted to add that I appreciate Luis's insight on that. I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I've also seen like, my own students, like if they're actually, thinking about having the experience or, just coming to, they could really come because they want to go to boarding schools, US private schools in the future. And then that will be, they get to know like how the classes look like, how, different terms in English are like in the US schools. You can really apply that to your actual like US high school studies. That's very helpful. Or, they want just like an experience, getting to know like US cultures, and then having like make like friends here, improve their English is also a really good opportunity. And they also get the certificate. Um, and oh, I think Christina has a question. So, how many Spanish speakers do you have each session? Is there a maximum quota per language spoken?
No, I don't think we've set really any limits. Obviously, like our current boarding program, our max that we can fit in our dorms is about 89 to 90 students, right? And I don't think we're near that number at all. So I would say Danny would probably say it's first come first serve. So whatever students are interested in and want to confirm to come, we're open to students coming for that experience.
Mm, okay. And then what's the average age at the summer camp?
Mostly seventh and eighth graders. We have like our smaller populations are the younger group. That's probably the smallest. So it's third and fourth as kind of like the smallest group. Fifth and sixth comes in second, and then our seventh and eighth graders are the ones that are usually filling the camp. So a little bit older.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and just to see if we have any other questions from the group.
I would like to add too, we did have a student from Vietnam who came on the winter immersion for a couple weeks, and then now she's a current student here, and she's finishing up her semester. So it's pretty cool to be able to see that those type of success stories where a student has come to Reardon just for 2 weeks, had a really good time, went back home, told their parents that they had a great experience, and now is a current student looking to apply to college, and she's doing really, really well too. So it's nice to be able to see that come into fruition.
Yeah, and then we have really had, really positive feedbacks. Like last time, our Vietnamese group said they really had a blast, and then we have a student returning. So it really shows like how much the students like the program, and they would, want to return as a full-time students. Um, yes, and then so if we don't have any more questions, oh yeah, do we have any domestic students as boarders in the summer program?
Currently, no. Most of our domestic students come day in, day out. They're just their parents drop them off in the morning, and depending on if they have aftercare until 5, they usually pick them up after camp.
Yeah, so you have classes and activities with the U.S. students, but in the dorm it will be, mostly just international students.
What's nice
Uh-huh.
this upcoming summer too is we do have some of our current boarding students who are athletes who may have to stay for different tournaments, and so there may be some other high school, our actual high school boarding students. Maybe I would say maybe 4, possibly 5 students who might be around to like hang out and give them like some insight and some relationship building outside of the class time. So if that's kind of like, hey, is there going to be anybody else around for our students to integrate with? Like, I have student leaders locally who love to meet international students, but we actually might have 4 or 5 students live on campus as well.
Okay. So let's see if we have more questions. Okay.